Whether you're new to woodworking or you need a refresher course with your router, I have you covered. The reason I chose the trim router to go over with you today is because whatever you learn with the trim router, you could apply it to any other handheld router. Remember, the bigger the motor, the bigger the bite. These little trim routers are very useful tools, but they're also very powerful, and if used incorrectly, can be very dangerous. So that's what we want to avoid. What are these trim routers good for? Shaping edges, flush trimming, pattern making, and even joinery. Those are just a few things that I could name off the top of my head. We're going to focus on the basics for your safety today. The first router was patented in 1906 by a guy named George Kelly. And since then, a lot of things have changed over 100 years of making this machine. But one thing hasn't changed, and it's this bit spinning at a high rate of speed, and we're trying to shape wood with it, and that could be dangerous. In this video, we're going to cover 5 things: router safety, router function, router bits, router direction, and some helpful tips to use your router. We have a lot to go over, so let's get started. First up is router safety. Now, what will you need? The standard eyes and ears, but mostly awareness. The more you're aware and how to operate this little tool safely and properly, the better experience you're going to have. I will give you my opinion throughout this video, but when it comes down to your safety, there's only one area I'm going to, and that's right here in the safety manual. I've already read this book several times for you, but I always recommend you read your manual with any power tool that you purchase. Let's go over all the functions of this router. You have your battery release right here. On and off, variable speed from 1 to 7, from 15,000 RPMs all the way to 25,500 RPMs on this model. The locking lever for the sub base. Here's the release for the sub base. We have the motor, you have the spindle lock button, and you have the collet. According to the manual, don't ever tighten this up empty. You could damage the collet. And you also have some work lights. Router bits. I'm no expert on router bits, but I am an expert on spending a lot of money on bad router bits. So my first piece of advice for you about router bits, do not go out and buy a big old set of router bits, whether they're cheap bits or expensive bits. Don't go out and buy this big set like this. Why do I say that? There are hundreds, if not thousands, of different router bits out there, and they all have various purposes. Until you know what you need a router bit for, that's when I recommend you buy a bit. Now, I will give some recommendations, but when buying router bits, I always recommend buy the next router bit you need for your next project. All right, let's go over all these bits I have laid out. Right over here on the left side, this is for joinery. This is a rabbiting bit. This is a very useful bit, but this is to make wood joints, joining wood together. And there's also different variations of these rollers, the bearings, to switch out so you can make different size rabbet joints. And then right here, we have a chamfer bit. This is at a 45-degree angle. They make these in different sizes. This is for the edge profile to give it a chamfered look. Very nice bit. I enjoy this bit a lot. Right over here is a roundover bit, and I use this for my juice screws and the cutting board. Mainly, that's what I have this one for. So that removes material in this shape right here. This is a cove bit right here. I usually use this inside of my router table because this bit is too big for the trim router. And then right here we have traditional, some roundover bits, different sizes. It's like 3/8, 1/4 inch, 1/8 inch. You may have seen this bit around a lot, okay? This is a flush trim bit, but it's a straight knife, and it only has 2 cutter heads on there. This makes contact with the board, and it could be very aggressive and very dangerous. A big bit like this on a trim router, I do not recommend. Let's focus in on these 2 bits right here. This one has the bearing up top, and this one has it on the bottom. These bits, they take a little bit of talent and practice to get good with these straight cutter bits. So as a new DIYer, I don't recommend you buying these straight cutter bits until you get some practice under your belt with some little bit nicer bits like this. Here's the difference. This cutter head right here has the two blades, and so when it spins and grabs that material, there's a lot of gap between here and here. You could grab the material, this big of a bit, grab a chunk of that material out, and actually throw this router right out of your hand. So this is too big of a bit to be using in a trim router, in my opinion. But if you have to use a bit for flush cutting, I recommend these bits right here. And they're not very expensive. These are made by Spey Tool. Okay, S-P-E-T-O-O-L. And see the difference? See the difference in the bit? This is a straight cutter head, and this is a spiral cutter head. This is an actual up-down spiral bit. So it cuts up and down in both directions. Look at all that cutting surface compared to this cutting surface. These are way easier and safer to use. So that's what I recommend you use versus these. Here's a bigger version. Look at this beast. This is a 1/2 inch. I use this for the big jobs. I use this to cut in my track on my bench top, my aluminum track. I cut this in. It's a compression bit. The way it's cut, it cuts in several directions at one time. So these are very nice. They can be expensive, but these ones weren't too expensive by Spey, but they're very safe and they actually make routing a lot more fun than this. Here's a straight bit just for messing around, just maybe drawing your name or something, or just removing material. Just a good old straight bit is pretty handy. So all these bits right here, I recommend these style bits right here. Not these, I don't really recommend those at all, but I do recommend these bits right here, especially to get started. I have a bunch more bits that are just don't use anymore because I bought some of those cheap sets, like I told you not to buy. So the next bit you should buy is whatever benefits you on your next project. That's what I recommend. What direction do you push this router? That is the most asked question I have received about this trim router. Hands down. Let's keep it simple. A general rule to follow is on the outside cut, it goes counterclockwise. Counterclockwise, that's a push cut. Or conventional cut, it's going against the direction of the blade. And on the inside cut, you're going to go clockwise. Inside cut, clockwise. Keep it simple. It doesn't matter whether you're left-handed or right-handed. People get this really confused. But if this doesn't work for you, all you have to do is stick your right thumb where you're cutting and point your finger. That's the direction you need to go. It kind of falls under the right-hand rule. Climb cutting versus conventional cutting. What's the difference? The climb cut is going in the same direction as the router, and it'll want to pull away from you. Therefore, it's pretty unsafe. The conventional cut, the router is spinning against the direction of the blade into the wood. And therefore, you have to push it in, and it gives you more control of your router. Let's see what the book says about climb cutting. Avoid climb cutting. Climb cutting increases the chance for loss of control, resulting in personal injury. When climb cutting is required, backing around a corner, exercise extreme caution to maintain control of the router. Make smaller cuts and remove minimal material with each pass. I'm going to show you a couple examples where I always use a climb cut. One of them is just taking light passes across the board because it may have been rough going in one direction with the grain, but the climb cut smooths it out. So just light passes over your finished product or what you just routed in that area. That's one example. Another example is when I'm on the outside edge, pushing it around the corner, I always go back around the corner briefly like this to get that edge perfectly crisp. And I do that with a conventional cut and a climb cut. You can use a climb cut. Just know what the router is going to do and what it won't do, because the router pulling away from you can be very dangerous. You want to put a groove in the middle of the board, put a straight edge here, and move your router from left to right in a few passes. I don't have a fancy outro for you, but what I do have is a video right here to test your new skills and make a custom mirror. That's fun. Or you can hang out with me right here where I share my whole life story. Everything. You've never heard anything like it, I promise you. All because of one woman. DIY mom. Thanks for watching.